Thank you everybody for joining us. And thank you guys for having me so much. I'm Slapping with Slapboxing Season 5.
Slap boxing.
So I'm a realtor in San Francisco in the Bay Area. And, we're in one of the most expensive metros in all of the United States. And our demographic, as far as buyers and who's really involved in real estate, it kind of looks one way. And so in the last couple of months, as we were preparing for 2023, which was predicted to be, a tough year for real estate. I don't know how much you guys keep up on the market, but, if you turn on the news, you hear about inflation, you hear about home prices dropping, everything is relative, right? So last year, what happened was interest rates went up. And when interest rates go up, it makes loans less affordable because your payment is higher, obviously. Right. And so the market really dropped out here. And I'm not going to say it's super dropped, but it slowed. And so all the predictors said that 2023 was going to be recession, that the market was going to be bad. And so last year I was thinking about other ways to create a stream of revenue, right? Because where I'm at, there's probably like 5,000 realtors, like literally. So it's super competitive. There's a ton of brokerages out here and there's limited buyers, right? The Bay Area is very small. Right. And so what I started doing was first-time homebuyer seminars. And I thought about, I like money, right? Who doesn't like money? Right. I love slanging houses, right? Like selling these multi-million-dollar homes. It's fun, it's exciting, it's luxurious. Right. But as a human being, and I'm 43, I'm not 23 anymore. At this age, your values are a little bit different. And so I was thinking about how can I integrate my desire to give back to my community and to all of our communities, right? And still kind of involve real estate. So I was creeping up in the DMs and I reached out to, because that's what you got to do.
Right? Yeah, you do.
And you know what? It was funny because I follow, some local people. And the reason I reached out was because Black C from RBL Posse, he put up a little meme, right? He put a meme of what do you call him? Like a cowboy, a ranchero, right? A Mexican dude. Yeah. And I just thought it was so funny because he was dancing at a rodeo, but it was to an RBL song. And it went. So I thought, this is hilarious. Let me reach out to this guy. He's got a sense of humor. And, I feel like a part of my new power in the second phase of life is being authentic. And so I thought about my approach and I thought, let me keep it real with him. And I told him I'm first generation American. I, as a single mom, I lived in Hunters Point. I was in the area when Mario Woods was killed by the San Francisco police.
Right.
And so in doing real estate and then coming from where I come from, there's a lot of disparities. And I said, I want to reach a different demographic that may not be exposed to real estate, investing, creating generational wealth. So I asked him, would you be interested in linking up and kind of helping me promote these seminars so where we can teach people that may not have thought that they could ever buy a house, right? Because if you're here and the entry point for a single family home is $1 million, you think that's unachievable.
Yeah, it's a discouraging number. For me, growing up in the Bay Area, then leaving, and then having the wish to want to come back one day, and then looking at how much the houses are, and it's or the cost of living, it's it discourages you and it makes you want to stay where you are. You know what I'm saying? So what would you say to somebody who is from the area and wants to return?
Ooh, but that's a good one.
But feels like they can't afford the ticket of a nice house that you would probably get for half the price or maybe even less down south somewhere.
So what I would say is with real estate, you got to get in where you fit in, basically, right? So what I'm doing with these seminars is teaching people how to prepare their credit, how to qualify for a mortgage, you know, like what the whole scene looks like in order to become a homeowner. Now, if we prepare you for everything and, you know, things just don't add up, but you have good credit and you have a little bit of money, what I encourage people to do is buy outside of the Bay, buy in a more affordable area that's up and coming, and invest. Invest. Just get in there, even if it's just something to start. Like, I think when we think of real estate, we think of like buying our own home, right? Like we're renting, who wants to pay somebody else's mortgage, right? You think of the first step is to buy your own home. Well, if it's not possible, then why not buy an investment property? And there's so many different ways to get in, right? You could do the flipping, which is short-term investments. There's longer-term investments where you're buying a property and then you're renting it out and you're holding it. There's hacking. I learned a new word. There's actual term for it. It's called, I don't quote me, I think it's called arbitrage.
Okay.
But it's like you hear of people that will go and rent houses and then Airbnb them with permission from landlords.
Okay.
So there's so much money to be made out there. And there's so many ways to get into real estate without like spending your own money, without actually buying your first home for yourself, you know? So yeah, I would say if you want to come back and you may not necessarily have the funds, I would say to start small, you know, maybe buy a property like in the East Bay. I always recommend when you're in the investment mindset, you're going to look for opportunities, right? So what happens in the Bay, and you guys are in Houston, right? Where everything is new. And you know, the buyers, you walk into a house, and if you're a buyer and you're thinking of buying a property, you want something that you're going to be able to move in. Like moving is already a pain in the ass, right?
Right.
Like nobody likes to move. I've done it way too many times.
Yeah.
But when you think about buying a home, you think about, I want to move in and that's it, right? I want to settle, move my shed in and relax. But realistically, that's not the best investment. That's for the people that have their, stuff established, that have the money in the 401k and can afford to just move right in, right? So if you're starting out and you may not necessarily have all the funds, I recommend buying the shittiest house on a nice block.
If you wanna play to win, come slap with us. Dope prizes every spin. Come slap with us. Cash app a couple dollars. Come slap with us. And if you wanna slap harder, come slap with us. If you wanna play to win, come slap with us. Dope prizes every spin. Come slap with us. Cash app a couple dollars. Come slap with us. And if you wanna slap harder, come slap with us.